Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleHorror. Greetings, viewers and listeners. Meathook, Jim here, the WrestleHorror Podcast. Here we are in 2022. With me always, my co-host, Donnie Hoover. Donnie, we couldn't get it all into one episode.
Yeah, no, we got to split her up into two, but we survived. We made it through the 2021 and all the craziness that's been going on, and we're still kicking.
Yeah, well, we tried to wrap this up in one, but we're going to squeeze into 2022 with our 2021 wrap-up.
Yeah, that's just how good it was. Great season, a lot to talk about.
It was, and there is a lot that you're going to learn. So stay tuned and listen to what we've got to say on this episode. There's one thing we haven't mentioned yet, and that was our 100th episode.
Yep, absolutely. That's next on the list here, and it was definitely a bucket list of mine for sure.
Absolutely. It was Ari Lehman, the first Jason from Friday the 13th. He's the one who popped out of the water at the end and grabbed Adrian King, Alice, and dragged her out of the canoe.
Yeah,
I know that was big for you being a Friday the 13th fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was an iconic scene and the biggest part of the story, the biggest part of the movie. So yeah, that was definitely a bucket list for me, and I kind of was marking out, a little bit more.
And you had every right to, man. I think you might mark out a little more if we got Kane Hodder on the show, but
yeah, I probably would. Like I said, relive my choke pick memory.
But Ari was really cool, and I think he was a little stoned, but
No, I'd say he was a lot of stoned. Yeah, he was pretty baked to say the least, and that was fine. That made him fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great episode.
Oh yeah, he was a chatterbox. He's talking away.
Yes, he was.
Got his band First Jason that they go around and play at different places, and yeah, he's busy. Like I say, I'm friends with him on Facebook now after this interview, and it seems like he's in a different state every couple of days. He's somewhere. And so, yeah, you wouldn't think, that he would be that busy, being that his film was so long ago. But yeah, he doesn't stay grounded too long.
First Jason keeps him busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him for the first time several years back at Scarefest in Lexington. And I've got a bottle of signed slasher sauce.
Nice.
It's his own hot sauce. And he autographed it for me, and it's never been opened. And I probably won't open it because it's got ghost peppers in it.
Nope.
I have my limits, and ghost peppers ain't it.
Right.
So
yeah, that was definitely a blast for sure.
Yeah, but I have that autographed bottle of slasher sauce sitting in my cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if I'm bold enough to open it.
Right.
So,
yeah, I say, and after Ari, which was a great interview, we had talked about, we had the Ohio Pro Wrestling Academy on and talked about us joining forces and partnerships and starting the training academy, and which we'd already touched on that. So, it's great to have those guys on and talk with them. And the OPWA is just going to keep growing, and we're working hard to get more students in there and get them trained the right way. And we're excited for what's happening. And then, we also had your buddy here, you took him under your wing, so to speak. Old Mikey Four Eyes, had him on and, joked around with him a little bit and had some fun.
Oh, Mikey, he's definitely unique.
Yeah.
When I first met him, he drove me crazy wanting to join Mall. I mean, it was literally, I was getting messages from him like at least once a day, if not twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's friends with Brett. So I had to talk to Brett, and it's like, he kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. So I said, okay, I'll give you a chance. He turned out to be a damn good haunter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he gets in there and brings it. That's for sure.
And he's even won the Jason Henry Haunter championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
And he won Rookie of the Year as well because of his dedication as an intensity and his desire to learn. That was one of the things. If he made a mistake, he wanted to learn how to fix it.
Right. Yep.
And I love Mikey. He's a little over the top sometimes, but his heart's in the right place, and he just wants to do better.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, not at all. He's
mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seemed like after talking with him and John and all that, we kept on the haunt theme for the WrestleHorror podcast. And the next person we talked to that I really enjoyed, and I know that you and Chris both adore this girl, and I can see why after talking to her, is Nikita Tarasova.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
She is such a sweetheart. And the funny thing is she's actually a funeral director.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was interesting. I made that a part of the talk on the interview. I wanted to hear a little more about that.
She's a licensed funeral director.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she's I've seen her costuming and some of the characters she's done, and she goes 1,000% on any character she does. So sweet and so kind to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But down to scare time, she'll scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, she'll go after you.
And you would be surprised to see her versus Gina, her real name.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, she just, she reached out to me for Maul, and Chris and I had a meeting with her, and Chris developed a bond with her, and she,
mm-hmm.
Gina calls her Mama Maul.
Yeah.
And I can't say anything bad about Gina whatsoever. She's an amazing talent, and I can't wait to see her again.
Oh yeah. Yep, absolutely. We'll have to try to get her down for like the Obetz Haunt or down in Carnage or something.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So we'll have to make that a project for next season. And another person that we talked to, and this was also, like I said, all of these are very interesting to me because I'm a learner. I like to learn as I interview, and that was Tyler Prophet from the Scare Factor. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to talk to him to kind of see how their thought process goes with how they grade haunts and stuff like that, which for, one of the ratings on some of the things, Carnage was ranked number 2. So we're pretty proud of that. And, but there's many different categories. So that, so that was cool to talk to Tyler and learn how they did their stuff.
I've known Tyler and Nora for years, and they are so objective when they do they find something good in every haunt they go to.
Mm-hmm.
Also honest. I mean, there's other haunt review sites out there that are a little overly biased, but not Tyler and Nora. I mean, and the teams that work for the Scare Factor, they vet out these teams to make sure they're going to work within their mindset. And Tyler and Nora call themselves Teams on Billies.
Mm-hmm.
And they are so objective about everything. They don't have much bad to say about any haunt, but they're graded according to certain criteria. And just because one haunt got a 9.5 and another haunt got a 6.5 doesn't necessarily mean that's bad.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's just the way they see it. And, haunt reviews are subjective and objective.
Mm-hmm.
But out of a lot of the groups out there, they are one of the ones that definitely have earned a lot of respect from the haunt community. Oh
yeah. Yeah. And I think the haunt review teams are great if they're completely honest, if they're not biased and they're completely honest and, give you the positive and the negative, because the negative as a haunt owner, like when we have the trail and people come and reviewed ours, I always look for the negative stuff more than the positive so I can fix it, because there's things that I don't notice and a lot of us don't notice that a customer or a haunt reviewer would notice, like, hey, you should change this or move this, or they didn't do this or they did this. And so I always look for all the negative stuff to fix it and make the haunt better. So yeah, I mean, and they seem to do that. They'll tell you the good and the bad, which is what you need.
But they're straight shooters, and all of their teams are the same way. I mean, and they've got teams all over the country.
Oh yeah.
And then there's other haunt review sites out there, and there's one that's local in the Ohio area that's pretty well respected. And then there's other ones like in Alabama and all over the place. There's different haunt review sites. So I don't buy all of them, but I always bank on what Scare Factor says.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And then, like I said, we talked to them and had a great time. Another one we had a great time with was he was actually at the Now Training Center with me when we interviewed. So we had, to separate each other so our mics didn't mess each other up. And that was Damian Chambers.
Damian Chambers. Let me tell you about Damian Chambers. I really appreciate him as a talent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's hungry. He wants to learn. And he gives it 1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
I've developed a bond with him. We've got a mutual respect. We don't see each other that much. I seen him at the training center, and he's wrestled a couple of shows. But I did get to see him when I was announcing for FGW a couple of weeks ago, and he made sure he came right up to me and said, "Hi, Jim, how are you doing?" And it was that mutual respect,
Yep, for sure.
And, he's going through, at least at FGW, he's going through a face turn. I'm not quite sure I can take him as a face. I think he's better as a heel. But, he was generating some good pops from the crowd as a face.
Yeah.
I'm going up against Matthew Taylor.
Yeah.
So I think he's got the tools to work both sides depending on what's needed. Because he can generate the pops, and he can definitely generate the heat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I say he's been on a couple Now shows there at the training center and stuff like that, and where we've gotten to get a good look at him. We've seen him around the area, and he's definitely a talent to keep your eye on for sure.
Oh, definitely, and he's got the look.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the kind of look that, let's face it, McMahon would drool over.
Right.
Little small for McMahon, but
yeah.
I mean, any other promotion would be dumb not to pick them up at some point in time, because he's got the whole package.
Oh yeah, yep. He's definitely a great talent for sure. And like I said, people will pay attention to him when they see him, no doubt about it. But another exciting thing that happened this year, me and Terry, we had to take one for the team. We had to be Team WrestleHorror and take one for the team as being the adamant professionals that we are. And that was when we went on our Camp Crystal Lake tour. Yes, it was more for me and my fanboyish, but I'm going to say it was for the WrestleHorror podcast, and I took one for the team.
And, I know that was just a dream of yours, Donnie. And I know you're marking out pretty hard. But you know what? It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have my WrestleHorror shirt on, so I was promoting the whole weekend. It's like, I see your Camp Crystal Lake sign behind you, and the license plate, and of course Jason's mask, and Kane Hodder up there. Oh yeah, yeah, and the license plate is actually signed by Ari Lehman and Adrian King, because they were there, and I got to get a rare opportunity to basically reenact the ending scene that we had just talked about earlier, where they come out of the water in the canoe. So there's, we're on the beach now. We're not actually in the water, but Adrian King was in the canoe, and Ari was on one side, and me and Terry was on the other side. And they take the picture where we got our arms up like we're coming at her to pull her under the water again. So I mean, that was that I was more than I could handle after that. I was just like in my own little world, and it's like nothing could have made that day go bad after that.
Let's face facts. You were sporting a chubby, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Absolutely. I mean, how many people can say they've done that, reenacted that scene, you know? It's like,
I am not denying you anything, my friend.
oh yeah. So yeah, I was pretty pumped about it. It was surreal. And yeah, like I said, they were both really nice. And then, I've had video that we put on the WrestleHorror page, I think. And, where our Adrian King's using her machete and chopping my head off and all that and reenacting that scene. So, it was just a lot of fun. It was a great weekend. And, I did what I had to do for WrestleHorror. I took one for the team.
Back in 2015, I think it was, maybe 2013. Anyway, I got to meet Darth Vader, David Prowse, not the voice, not what's his name? Oh crap, I can't remember his name now. Oh my God, this is bad.
Better hope he doesn't hear this. Huh?
James Earl Jones.
No, there you go. Yeah, for some reason I don't think James Earl Jones listens to the WrestleHorror podcast. So I think you'll be all right.
But when I got to meet David Prowse, I was sporting a chubby too. I was like,
oh yeah,
I'm a big, people who know me know I'm a huge Darth Vader fan.
Mm-hmm.
And to meet him, and what was really great was I got to meet him with my dad. My dad's the one who got me into science fiction, starting with Star Trek.
Nice.
So me and my dad, Darth Vader.
There you go. Now, was he tall, Darth Vader, like the real life guy?
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Okay, because he looked tall in the movies. I just didn't know for sure.
Yeah, he was in crutches, so he's a little stooped over, but he's like 6'8", 6'9".
Nice.
So I still, on his crutches, I was a little closer to his eye, but he was such a nice guy and so personal. And he came by the Big Scary Shoe booth later and was talking to me and Drew like we were friends and everything. And
nice.
It was, that was a highlight of my life is meeting him. So I know how you feel about Camp Crystal Lake and Ari.
Right. Yep. That was very cool. Very cool experience. And another, going back into the wrestling side of things, another guest we had on was Riley Rose, and he's currently working with AIW up in Cleveland, which is a very popular independent promotion that's up and coming. And he is going to actually be at the Arnold with us this year. So he'll be debuting with New Ohio Wrestling.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Very cool. I'm looking forward to meeting him in person.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a good guy. And another good guy that we also interviewed is the president of wrestling, Philip Stamper.
I was getting ready to bring him up.
Yeah. And yeah, he's got his fingers in a lot of stuff in wrestling. He's been around, and the president of wrestling is actually a trademark term. So, and plus I'm talking about him, so he can't really do nothing and sue me or anything. But yeah, he was fun to talk to. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he was. And he's got his fingers in a lot of pots.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, Wrestling Revolver with Sammy Callahan's one of them. And, he had to scramble and do some things because shortly after that interview, Sammy broke his ankle.
Right. Kind of put him in scramble mode.
Right. But they pulled it off. And Philip was great. I mean, he's a great source of information. I mean, I hope to have him on again because it was a great interview. Oh
yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. And then, shortly after that, we had the Obetz Zucchini Fest. We had talked about that, and how successful that was. And one person that came out of the Zucchini Fest that we were pleasantly surprised about and had him on shortly after that was Big Jake Shepard.
Big Jake Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he's a big boy, let me tell you. Very nice guy outside of the ring. Don't mess with him inside of the ring.
Right.
And you got to be careful because I watched him a couple of weeks ago when I was announcing, and they ended up breaking the top rope at FGW because they had like 4 guys in the ring that were no less than 300 pounds.
Right.
The biggest one of them. But, we talked about Jake and his, his friendship with his ultimate wingman, Russell Actafool Bland.
Mm-hmm.
And how people are surprised that he moves as well for as big as he is.
Yeah.
And that's conditioning and training, my friend. That's,
oh yeah.
You may be on the better side of 450, but you got some serious muscle power if you can move like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And like I said, we brought him in, as a match with Eric Smalls for the Zucchini Fest. And, and we knew what we were getting, when we put the match together, and they gave us exactly what we wanted. I mean, it was a great match. It was a fun match. The crowd they got the biggest reaction out of the crowd out of the entire day at the Zucchini Fest. And, when Eric Smalls got the pin, the crowd jumped up and went crazy and got a good response. So, yeah, I mean, he was definitely he had the it factor that day. He brought the charisma out and got the people to hate him just enough to, get people to love Eric Smalls.
The one thing that tickled me is sitting in my position there is that girl that was sitting next to me going, "Oh my God, is he going to eat Eric?"
Right. Yeah, like I say, it was booked for a reason, and they gave us exactly what we wanted, and we couldn't have been happier with it.
Oh no, it was a great match. It really was.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and another person that we talked to that was very interesting, moving into the horror film side. There's a local director here in Columbus, and her name's Hope Madden, and she's making a film called Obstacle Corpse. And it looks like an interesting film, and it should be coming out soon. And I'm really looking forward to that. But she was a pleasure to talk to.
It was, and I'm looking forward to seeing that too as well. She knows what she's doing when it comes to filmmaking. I mean, the film director, she's got her finger on everything, and she knows what she wants.
Yeah, she's done writing, directing, and she's a film critic. So she'd been in the independent horror business for many, many years. So she was a pleasure to talk to. And another couple I had fun talking to, they're actually members of the WrestleFit fitness program. And they've actually become, some pretty good friends. We've gotten to know them, and that's Andrew and Stacy from the Central Ohio Ghostbusters. And they're a unique group. They go around and they got their cars, and it's a group of people, and they dress up like the Ghostbusters, and they have the proton packs and everything, and they got the cars with the lights and the sirens, and they basically go around and visit places, and they do special events, and it's really cool concept that they do. And they've done birthday parties, and they've done like grand openings, and they've done just like recently the new Ghostbusters movie came out, so they had a private viewing, a private screening of Ghostbusters where they were able to acquire a whole theater and invite special guests and people to come join them. And me and Terry were fortunate enough to be one of those people. So, we got to go see Ghostbusters and all that. So but they were very interesting. And like I said, I see them a couple of times a week and at the WrestleFit training, and they're always giving it 110%. And Andrew's got a funny habit of smiling the whole time. I don't know why, but because we listen to weird music, like on music you wouldn't think Onyx would listen to, and boy band type stuff. And I'll look over at Andrew, and he's just got like this biggest, cheesiest smile on his face. And but they're some cool people, and it was a good talk to them.
Well, not only that, but they cosplay wrestlers.
Yeah, they go to cosplay. That's how we actually met them.
We saw them as AJ Styles and Becky Lynch at Squared Circle Expo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, and we were out in Indianapolis at the Squared Circle Expo, and they actually live here in Columbus with us. So they had been to, we didn't know this at the time, but they had been to some New Ohio wrestling shows previous. So they knew who we were and all this and that. And then when they saw us at the Squared Circle Expo, they came over and started talking to us. And then, next thing I know, they had been looking for an exercise program because they were wanting to start, working out again. And, they love wrestling. They love cosplay. They love horror. So it was a perfect fit, and, now, like I said, they're in the WrestleFit program, and, they're coming up on a year probably of doing it with, probably, 8-9 months, and they're getting some good results and loving every minute of it. So, we're happy to have them.
They also cosplay Marvel characters. I saw pictures of them. Stacy was Rogue and Andrew was Gambit from the X-Men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They go to like comic book signings and like events at comic book shops, and they dress up. They have multiple costumes. They have different characters, and it's funny to see them, like get into their characters and stuff, because what we see when we're at WrestleFit's completely different. It's just like with wrestling, you got your wrestler behind the scenes, and then you got your wrestler when he's on, when it's time to turn the character on and get at it. And it's funny to see that they do that. It's kind of the same concept with their cosplay stuff. So they were a joy to talk to. Another one that we enjoyed talking to, and it was your boy, the Prophet of Pain, Amos. He was a blast.
He is a character, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks weirdly sometimes, but what a talent he is, and he helps younger wrestlers. I've watched him, and I watch him work almost every week.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a powerhouse. He just plows through it all and does the best he can. And he'll generate heat or pops out, whatever he needs to do to get the job done. Amos, the Prophet of Pain, from Fort Ancient to Coa Valley.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great talent, and I'm glad to call him a friend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, he's a roster member of New Ohio Wrestling, and he's proven his worth, and we're going to keep him around and let him do what he does. And not to knock him short or anything, but another exciting thing that happened for WrestleHorror, and we're very proud of and looking forward to the future, is the Obetz Haunt. We started working with the Obetz Zucchini Fest and with the wrestling, and that was a big success. They had heard about our haunted house past and our history, and they contracted us to come in and help them with their one-day haunt. They do a haunt, like a Halloween party festival for the community, and have haunted house. They pass out candy bags, you have food trucks, and that kind of thing, and usually more. But it was kind of raining, so they didn't have like the bounce houses and all that. But they brought us in to help them with their haunt, and it was a big success. And according to you, we've talked about it. We did close to 1,000 people, and I just recently talked to some of the Obetz staff and stuff just a few days ago, and they still are saying they're still talking positive about it and loved it, and everybody had nothing but great things to say. And so we're going to be doing it again next year as well in 2022. We're meeting with them in January and coming up with a game plan. So, that was a big feather in the WrestleHorror company's hat as a whole, for all of us, getting this opportunity to work with an actual city to do their haunt for them.
I mean, kudos, man. I mean, that's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have resources and everything like that? A lot of haunts don't get that opportunity, but you've got the resources to work with. So that just, bigger, better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, we've already been talking about it, and you and I, and me and Mike, and Mike is still pumped about it. He still messaged me like, "Hey, I just watched that video again, man. I can't believe how much we got done in such short time." He's still having fun with it. So and then like I said, you got some ideas for this upcoming season, and I've got some ideas, and I know Mike's got 100 of them because he sends them to me all the time. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get started on next season. Give us more time to get things together.
Well, hopefully, we'll have a little more time to work on it.
Oh yeah, yep. So yeah, like I said, that was a big feather in everybody's hat for the WrestleHorror team, and looking forward to next year. Another exciting guest we had that, always a pleasure to talk to. This dude's, awesome. I love him to death, is Maximus Bryant. And he came in and gave us a haunt review for the season, for the 2021 season. And And, you know, for as little time as he's been in, as he claims the haunt business, he's a wealth of knowledge, and he's jumped in with both feet and has like many hats that he wears in the haunt industry.
He does. And he really has taken off. I mean, and he was bummed because he didn't hit the right episode.
Right. What's it like, every 50 episodes or every 75 or 25, something like that?
Episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
They missed the mark a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah, we got him in there though.
We did. And, you know, he's got his own haunt in Springfield, and he works at the schoolhouse, and he does haunt stuff for this podcast and that podcast. And
he works with the Haunted Attractions Network.
Yeah, he's got his fingers in a lot of pots, and, you know, more power to him. You know, I met him once when he won something. He won something from Big Scary Show, and instead of mailing it to him, I said, just meet me at Quaker Steak and I'll give it to you.
Right.
Instead of me mailing it.
Yep.
So, yeah. And, you know, not only that, but he's lost weight, and he's a sumo wrestler, which was really weird.
Yeah, he's practicing for sumo. I was fascinated by that.
Yeah.
And like I said, he put some videos on Facebook with it, like his training and his matches, and I watched every second of it. I was like, this is actually really cool.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder how people like him can do so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's always doing something. He's always somewhere doing something.
Yeah. So more power to him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Another guest keep on rolling is one of your favorites. You know, you love him. I know you love him to death. He's your favorite guy, and that's Thunderbird Jake Ely.
Thunderbird Jake Ely.
Right. And yeah, it was fun to have him on there. He's a character. I could just sit there and talk to him and he'd be entertained by it.
You know what? I enjoy interacting with Jake. When we do the wrestling shows, and him and Kaval and everything with the Temple of Terror Championship, I just eat that up because the fans love it, and we get reactions, we get pops, or we get heat. Either way, the fans are reacting, and it's just funny because for those of you that are listening that haven't heard that episode, I'm 6'4", Jake's about 5'8", maybe. So him trying to intimidate me is pretty funny.
Right.
But,
like I say, you'll have plenty of time at the Arnold. He'll be there all 3 days. So
we're going to have fun with that one.
Yeah. You're going to defend that Temple of Terror Championship.
Yeah, he's going to get a new belt or something.
Yeah, they're in the process of getting a new one made. And like I said, it's still not a legitimate title and isn't recognized by New Ohio Wrestling, but what the hell? Right. Yeah. And as you know, with the wrestling as well, you know, one of the things that people don't touch on very much is the people that work, you know, in front of the cameras, so to speak, but does not in the ring. And that's like photographers and your filmmakers and, you know, people that film and record and all that. And we had one of our photographers on, which is Mallory Lind of Mischievous Panda Photography. And, you know, she's a sweetheart of a girl, and she hates her hair being touched. So I make it a point to touch it every time I see her, just because that's how I am. And, but yeah, she was a lot of fun. You know, I kind of teased her about somebody being behind her because she was at the house by herself, and she threatened to stab me. So, but yeah, she's another horror aficionado.
And you know what? When she does her photography, she's got a great eye, and she does wonderful pictures for whatever promotion she's taking pictures for.
Right. Yep. Yeah, she has multiple promotions she works with. Yep.
Whether it's us or it's was it OCW?
OCW. Yep. She works with War up there in Lima. Yep.
FGW. She's done some work for.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a great eye, and she's a great talent. And like you said, she's a sweetheart. Very, very genuine. And she, like some other photographers I've seen in the business, she manages to get out of the way more.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And people don't realize how important that is. There's actually a skill set that you need as a live action photographer, so you don't get, you know, your teeth knocked out, you know. and she'd been hit a couple times. She told us some stories where she's actually been hit and been at the wrong spot at the wrong time. But, yeah, for the most part, she's on point. She's always out of the way, and she gets great shots, and, she just knows what she's doing, and self-taught at that. That's even more impressive.
That's just a desire to do the best you can. I mean, a great friend and great photographer. We love you, Mallory.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And something that I thought was very cool and unique about Mallory is, she's a younger girl, and we're a little on the older side of the spectrum, and she's a huge Universal Monsters fan. And it's just odd to see somebody her age, as young as she is, being a Universal Monsters fan.
That is very surprising, and it caught me by surprise when we were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Universal Monsters go back even before us,
right?
We're talking back to the 30s, and she appreciates that, and a lot of young people don't appreciate the Universal Monsters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's even got tattoos of them.
Mm-hmm. She does, and even sometimes even people our age don't appreciate the Universal Monsters, but they were the beginnings of what we have today, and you got to appreciate those origins.
Oh yeah, they laid the groundwork.
Yeah, I've got a copy of Dracula. I've got a copy of Frankenstein in my library.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got The Mummy.
Oh yeah. Speaking of. Yeah, I sent you a picture of this. One of my Christmas gifts was the Bride of Frankenstein. Right. I thought that was a pretty awesome gift.
That is cool.
Yeah, so that was an awesome one that I got.
Very nice.
But yeah, like I said, that was surprising to me, and it was actually a breath of fresh air for a younger person and a different generation to actually be so appreciative of them like that.
Absolutely.
Another guy that was really interesting to talk to, and I'd never met this guy. It was the Savage Kyle Hawk, but he's got a military background. We thank him for his service, and he was really into his Indian heritage and all that. So yeah, he was fun to talk to.
I've watched Kyle perform several times, mostly at FGW, and he's another one of those that puts everything into it. He's 100%. Kyle Hawk, the Savage, when he's out there wrestling. He's a great talent, and he travels around quite a bit. He goes to OVW.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some other work in Kentucky and Indiana. He goes to FGW. I mean, he travels around the country working every weekend.
Yep.
And he's based out of, I think, Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Kyle, and again, like you said, thank you for your service, because he's a military vet, Army vet.
Mm-hmm.
So
he mentioned he goes down to Texas and works a lot too in the Texas area.
Yeah, he does. He gets around quite a bit, and hey, not a bad guy to talk to, not a bad guy to book sometime.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and like I said, another one that we've talked with here. We're getting close to the end of 2021, and she was one of the last ones we've actually talked with. As a good friend of both of ours, you've known her for a lot longer than I have, and that's Melanie Dead Girl.
What can we say about Melanie? I mean, she is a very talented haunt actor.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Melanie for at least 12 years now, if not longer, maybe closer to 15.
Mm-hmm.
Seen her work in different aspects, and she worked for me at one point in time, but I've seen her work at other haunts like the Haunted Hoochie, Scaratorium, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
She's another one of those haunt actors that puts 100% into everything she does.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I say, I work with her at Carnage this past season, and I'm sure next season. And so we work kind of sort of close to each other, because I was zone captain. So I was always in that area. And I was like, we had a lot of fun this year. And And, like we said on the episode, we talked to her, she doesn't just read the rules because she works in the rules room. She doesn't just read the rules and tell the customers and guests what they can do and can't do. She turns it into an actual haunt scene herself, and she interacts with them. She gets a couple good jump scares here and there. And she makes it a whole production, not just, like most rules rooms, where they just read the rules and open the door and let them in.
Blah, 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 boring.
Right. Yeah. And that just goes with her experience and, where she's been in the past, and so, yeah, she's, like I said, she's a good asset to have on any haunt team and any haunted house. And it was fun to talk to her and hear some of her story.
The one time I saw her break character was she was working at the Haunted Hoochie. And I came through the room where she was working. She popped out. She goes, "Hi, Jim." Like, shit.
Yeah.
Hi, Mel.
Right. Yeah. Every now and again, you got to do that. Like I said, I try to stay in character as much as possible, but just like, for instance, and my wife, when Terry showed up to the Carnage with our friends to, walk through with them, I kind of broke character and snuck out into the rules room where Mel was, reading the rules to him and kind of pinched Terry on the butt and stuff. And, Mel scolded me for it. She stayed in character and acted like I was just one of the monsters and opened up my door and scolded me for pinching a customer's butt. And she just played along with it and had fun with it. So, every now and again you can do that.
Yeah. You got to have those improv skills. So.
Yeah.
She definitely has those for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's a lot of fun. She's good at what she does for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, just going through the list and through memory of things we've had, we got the announcement this year also. We're in the 2022 Arnold Sports Festival. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, so, like I said, our last episode, we talked a lot about the New Ohio Wrestling and Now Training Center stuff and what we've accomplished with that. But, just like going through this list and talking about what we've accomplished with WrestleHorror is even, just a big feather in the cap. I can't believe we're not, passed out sleeping somewhere. I say we've got a lot accomplished this year.
And I think there's going to be more in 2022.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good things coming for sure.
Oh, and by the way, since we're restructuring the way we're doing the shows at the Arnold, you don't need any other ring announcers. They can just go home.
Yeah. Just send them all away, huh?
I got this.
Right. I only think I got you and one other, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And then, yeah. So, yeah, you're going to be doing the bulk of it.
I'm good with that.
Right.
So try to lose a little weight before then. And I told Chris, I said, I got to buy a matching suit before the Arnold.
There you go.
So, I want to look presentable for the big wigs.
There you go. Yep. We've got to put our best foot forward.
Yes, sir.
So it's going to be an exciting year. And like I said, I'm surprised at what all, not only the wrestling and all that accomplished, but I'm surprised at what the podcast accomplished with, coming out of COVID and everything still being shut down. And, we went to some cool places, had a lot of fun. We've talked to some cool people, and it's been an amazing year.
And it's going to be more amazing next year with conventions coming up. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our Conjuring House investigation in September.
Oh, yeah.
Details we've already talked about many times, but we're looking forward to that as well as, there's Fear Expo coming up in January, and there's other expos and conventions that are coming up throughout the year with restrictions slacking off as long as Omicron doesn't
mess everything up.
So, there's going to be more opportunities for us to get us out there. Squared Circle Expo for sure. We're going to try to get in some more haunt conventions.
Yep.
So, 2021 was great, and I think 2022 is going to be better.
Oh yeah, fingers crossed. We're hoping we're ramping up for it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Wow, that was a year in review, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I don't know how long that went, but well, with that being said, that's Donnie Hoover. We are the WrestleHorror Podcast. Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you next year.
Yep. See you guys.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media outlets, Facebook.com/WrestleHorror, Instagram @WrestleHorror, Twitter @WrestleHorror, on YouTube at the WrestleHorror channel. And you can also find us on our website, www.WrestleHorror.com.